Manchester City just had one of the most dominant displays of football I think that I've ever seen. Instead of Pep Guardiola coming out and completely changing his tactics around and overthinking his lineup like he usually does in such a high stakes game, Pep made some very basic tactical adjustments in between games that really changed the tide on Real Madrid in the second leg. Pep even said this about his tactical adjustments in his press conference before the game.
I'm not overthinking tomorrow, don't worry guys.
The three biggest tactical ideas that Pep used this game were a high press, total control, and denying how Real Madrid want to play. Manchester City came out in a similar 4-4-2 that they used in the first game when they were out of possession. However, if you look at the differences between the first leg and this leg, the biggest differences is the pressure and how high up the field this team pressed. You can see that in the second leg, Manchester City were pushed so high up the field that even Akanji, who was playing left back, was free to push up all the way onto Real Madrid's right back Carvajal and help assist in such a high press. City's man-to-man press even had their defenders man-marking the Real Madrid forwards and following them into the midfield if they tried to receive a pass. This is why it felt like Real Madrid were suffocated in their own half for much of the first half, because this super effective Manchester City high press forced Courtois to go long most of the time. During the early stages, Pep was even motioning the team to get higher and higher because as long as the City defenders were man-marking one-on-one against the Madrid attackers, he kept pushing numbers forward to prevent Real Madrid from getting any sort of rhythm on the ball. Even though Vini and Rodrigo roamed across the field to try and join and receive the ball, Manchester City's press was moving to match them, and it really prevented getting any kind of service towards the forwards. And once City did lose the ball and try and almost give up a counterattack, they were super quick to counterpress and win the ball back, and they wanted to really have total control over the game, which is their second key tactical idea. Pep realized that Real Madrid get a lot of their attacks from counterattacking chances, and he wanted to minimize those. Pep is obsessed with having control over a match, so Pep made the adjustment to make his team take total control over the match and be okay with moving the ball back and forth on the pitch as long as they didn't give up any dangerous counterattacks. City were so good at beating the Real Madrid press because Real Madrid don't use a structured pressing system with pressing triggers that force its players to all press together. So anytime that Real Madrid did try to press high during the first half and force turnovers, City were able to comfortably play through them. So City wanted to take total control by keeping the ball and preventing those counterattacks. But they also did want to create more attacking chances by taking advantage of the Real Madrid attackers. Rodrigo and Vini are told to stay higher up in order to create those fast counterattacks with Benzema. So what City did was they only pushed Walker or Akanji higher up the field when those players weren't defending. So if Ruben Diaz and Walker were defending Benzema and Vinicius Jr. up the field, Akanji could push forward and help in the attack. This helped Manchester City take control of areas higher up the pitch with these newer overloads, leading to having only 2 City players back on defense with the rest involved in the attack. This is why it felt like when City had possession higher up the field near the Real Madrid box, they always had a passing option in any direction. Moving players like Akanji and Walker up the fields when they could also allowed Stones and Rodri to move interchangeably with the front 5. This, along with Akanji and Walker making runs on the outside when they could, caused a lot of problems for the Real Madrid marking because of where these overloads were created. The first goal was created because Stones made a forward run from his holding midfielder position, occupying a man that would typically guard Bernardo Silva, which left him wide open in the center. Having more of these players forward caused marking issues, and on top of that, City's quick switching between the wings caused more issues, giving Grealish and Bernardo one-on-ones that they could easily win on the outside with their quick movement. The second goal was caused by some quick horizontal movement on the pitch that took away a marker centrally from Gundogan. So with so much control over the match and a killer counterpress, it made it impossible for Real Madrid to attack how they want to, through their counterattacks. Benzema, Rodrigo, and Vini never had any time on the ball in the first half to turn and create something on the counter because of just how effective City's press was. And when they did get the ball, City quickly had a double team or had Walker, who did a great job on Vinicius, to delay him and wait for a teammate to come help. Moving into the second half, City tried using the same ideas, but without their high press. They wanted to protect the lead by still not allowing counterattacks, so to do this, KDB and Haaland stayed up top, occasionally high pressing, but City made sure to always keep the rest of their team behind the ball. If you look at some of this footage from the second half, you can see that there's always 8 Manchester City players behind the ball, waiting to prevent a counterattack from Real Madrid if they did turn it over. This made it very hard for Real Madrid to create chances because of just how compact the midfield and defense stayed during the second half. City almost never committed too many men forward, and they were able to control Real in front of their goal for most of the second half with some excellent defending. But the worst part is, when City got control of the ball, they could easily still pass through that Real Madrid press, even though they tried to press hard during the early stages of the second half. And City could just kill the game by playing keep away with the ball or only going for really good chances on goal. I mean, this really deflated Real Madrid because their press wasn't effective in the second half, and it killed the game in the momentum in the way that Pep would have wanted to, with full control over the entire match. Manchester City just put on one of the most impressive performances I think I've ever seen on a football pitch. They will go on to face an inner side in the final that many people do not expect to have a chance. If Manchester City does play like this, they look like one of the best teams in history, and it would take a lot in order to defeat them at full power. But they haven't played a defensively class side like Inter this year, and I'll be doing an analysis soon on why you shouldn't sleep on Inter Milan, because City have never faced a team that plays just like them. Make sure you don't miss out on that video and subscribe for more.